Disney. That's a hard thing to say nowadays, considering how much they come under fire for being morally challenged. I will say Disney has always had a get-out-of-jail-free card with me, and that's because they successfully give me that mental vacation 100% of the time. Even though Disney made like a million films, I was never really into the feature films. Most of the time I was actually watching the Disney shorts, and I watched these things all the time, especially Donald Duck. He was my favorite. Now when it came to gaming, I so badly wanted to have just one great game that had the entire cast of characters from the Disney shorts. Well, in 1992, I finally got my wish. Unfortunately, I didn't discover it until like 94, 95.
The story is the gang is playing catch until Goofy throws the ball too far. Pluto runs after it and disappears. Mickey, of course, goes after him, and so starts the adventure. Although I must say it's pretty douchey that his friends didn't come with him. Goofy actually states he'll help find Pluto and then just walks in the opposite direction. That took balls, dude. He's just like, looks like you need help. Bye, bitch. Ho ho, you're a head. Ho ho. Not exactly encouraging, and it's solidified by just how alone you are when the first person you meet outside of your friends is, I guess, some sort of wizard who tells you that Pluto has been captured by Emperor Pete and literally tells you that he'll never give him back, and he's doing experiments on his dog, and that Mickey should just forget about saving his dog and rescue himself instead because you have no chance. Wow. He basically just told you awful things are happening to your dog and that you suck so bad that you're incapable of saving Pluto. What a nice guy.
Abby! Have you seen my dog? She's a black lab. Oh yeah, I just saw her get captured by Emperor Sodomizor. Sodomizor? Yeah, he's a serial animal rapist. What? Yeah, dude, I would just get another dog. I'm pretty sure he's going to town on her right now. I have to admit, your dog does have a pretty nice ass that if he hadn't captured her, I would wreck that shit. What is wrong with you? I'm talking about putting on some Michael Bolton and dripping hot wax all over that beast. Can I get a Let me hear you say, oh! Don't judge me.
Aside from the simplistic story, this game is a masterpiece. The controls are solid like any other great platforming games. You can pounce on your enemies, throw them, throw blocks, ride ice cubes, springboard from branches, make chickens poop coins, ride leaves, utilize special costumes, use magical carpets, and you can even catch a ride on a tomato by spinning it quickly into a helicopter.
Hey, honey? Aiden just made a mess on the floor.
There are also stores in the game where you can spend all these coins you find. To tell you the truth, I very rarely get anything from these stores hidden throughout, mainly because I just never feel like I need something to give me an edge. Which brings us to the difficulty of the game. Is it a hard game? Not exactly. I wouldn't necessarily say it's an easy game, but if you can beat Super Mario Bros. 3, you're not going to have a problem here. Part of the reason for this is because the game is pretty generous with items. Even on the higher difficulty settings, it's still not too bad. The other reason for this is a combination between the magical suits you get and the boss battles. Once you figure out the pattern, which doesn't take very long, and what suit you should use considering the situation, you'll find the boss battles are between moderate and easy, meaning you're not going to break a controller over anger here, but at the same time, the game isn't insulting your intelligence. Speaking of the magical suits, this is the main focus in the game and by far my favorite part about the gameplay. In your normal clothes, you can pick up things like blocks or chickens and even pull cords to unlock all kinds of goodies. There's a suit that lets you shoot magic at your enemies, one that lets you use a fire hose, and one that lets you swing around like your bionic commando. The funny thing is the first suit you're given actually comes from the wizard that tried to discourage you from saving your dog. I guess he changed his mind.
You again. Yeah, I saw how persistent you were, so I thought I'd offer you some help. What kind of help? A magical suit that's filled with magic-y magic. That's a bra. It's a magical bra. I'm not wearing that. Come on, guy, just wear it. Just wear it. Put it on. Put it on. Put it on. I'm not gonna wear it. Put it on. Come on. I'm not gonna wear it. Come on. Come on. Put it on. I'm not wearing that. No. Come on. No. I'm not wearing it. Put it on. Okay. Well, if I put it on, will you rub oil on my chest and take a picture? Dude. Weirdo.
My favorite suit is the fireman suit, as well as the stage you get it on. There are all kinds of little puzzles involving the hose, you can destroy things with it, and it's just plain fun putting fires out. Regardless what stage you're on, if you've earned the suit you get to keep it, which means you can swap them out during play at any time, most of which are pretty handy during boss battles as well. One really good example of this is when you fight this huge bird where you have to hang on to something every time it flies by or you'll instantly fall to your death. All of the stages are so much fun all the way up to the final battle. I will say that I hate this part where these cannons keep shooting you. I swear, every time I play through this game, I always die at least once here. Damn it! After all of that, you take on Emperor Pete and finally save Pluto. What an awesome game. There's so much fun to be had here, but I never understood why they didn't make any sequels. Everyone I've met that has played this game just loves it to death. I guess it was just a missed opportunity, and that's too bad because I would love to see a sequel or two.
Abby! Abby! I guess I should have checked here first. What we got here? The Great Circus Mystery starring Mickey and Minnie Mouse? That's kind of like the title to the Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse. Could it be? No way.
Oh my god! There really is a sequel to the Magical Quest.
Then why call it the Great Circus Mystery? Just because you put starring Mickey and Minnie Mouse at the end of the title doesn't give it enough indication that it's a sequel to the Magical Quest. That'd be kind of like if you took the Rocky film series and instead of calling the fourth film Rocky IV, you instead called it I Must Break You.
Regardless of my personal hangups with how the title was treated, I have to say this is awesome. The music, gameplay mechanics, fun factor, it's all there. I honestly thought I'd be angry that I'm only finding out about this now at age 31, but I'm not. What it's done is it's actually made me feel like a kid again, which really was the main goal behind collecting classic games. This really is one of those moments where you might say to yourself, this is why we do what we do. Everything in the game is very familiar, but yet it's different enough for it to feel like a new discovery. Just like in the Magical Quest, you do get different kinds of magical suits. They're a lot of fun, but not quite on par with the original suits. One gives you a vacuum, which I thought I'd love, but discovered you seem to take longer to turn around from enemies that come up behind you. The other two suits are awesome. One lets you climb, swing, and slide off nearly everything. Once again, because the controls are done so well, this makes for some really cool classic moments. The other suit lets you ride a fake horse and shoot a little pop gun. You can also jump higher when using the cowboy suit, which helps for those hard to reach spots. It's also essential for the end boss of the game. The difficulty is a little better this time around, but it's sort of a double-edged sword. One side, they've clearly upped the difficulty of some of your enemies and bosses, which is great. On the other hand, they implemented a password system, making it so if you die, you always come back to where you left off instead of starting all over again.
In other words, it's harder, but not.
The absolute best addition to this series is the two-player option is now cooperative, which is so much fun to play this game at the same time with a badass friend.
Dude, you're weird.
Along the way, you'll face some pretty awesome characters, plow through ice, forests, haunted houses, circuses, and monster-infested palaces. Pete this time actually has two forms. First, he's just his regular old self. The second, he turns into a dragon. And of course, once he's defeated, all is right in the world again.
You know, the only thing that could have made this game any better was if I could have played as Donald Duck too. Well, guess what? There actually is another sequel, and I am not kidding.
This one was appropriately titled The Magical Quest 3 starring Mickey and Donald. That's right, you actually get to play as Donald Duck. Now you're probably wondering why you never heard of this game back when the SNES was still alive. That's because it was only released for the Super Famicom in Japan.
And that is bullshit.
We finally get to play as Donald Duck and we never got a US release for the Super Nintendo? That is so unfair! Eventually we did get a North American release, but it wasn't until 2005 and it was just for the Game Boy Advance. In the game's defense, it's outstanding. It's definitely the most challenging in the series, and each character actually gets their own set of suits instead of sharing. Just like the other two games in the series, it's absolutely badass and loads of fun. It just sucks that it's on a portable system. I do like the Game Boy Advance, but it's not a Super Nintendo controller. It's on a small screen, and the audio isn't nearly as good as it would be with a Super Nintendo and a decent television set. And quite frankly, the only time I find myself playing a portable system anymore is when I'm in the restroom, and if I were to sit here and attempt to beat the game, I'd have a permanent toilet ring on my ass. No thanks.
It is interesting to note that the Great Circus Mystery, when it was re-released for the Game Boy Advance in 2003, did have the title changed back to the Magical Quest II, starring Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Well, anyway, it's a great trilogy of games. It's just really unfortunate that it's broken up among consoles. Hey, Half-Bit, when are you gonna take this picture?
Fatality!
Half-Bit wins. Put it on, yeah, put it on, 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 put it on.